So at the meeting of the leaders of thought, they wanted Awolowo's forgiveness. By this time, Ojukwu in the eastern region had refused to recognize the authority of Gowon. Ojukwu seized federal assets in the east and confiscated federal revenue. He detained a civilian Nigerian airway flight that landed in Enugu. He refused to attend meetings of the Supreme Military Council. It was clear Nigeria was headed for a civil war. Did Awolowo react appropriately to Ojukwu's actions?
I think what he did, I'll put it in two ways. There were his thoughts and there were his actions. And I think the first was, of course, the West was in a very weak position. All the troops in the West were largely from the North. Because historically, the Westerners had always looked down on military. They've always thought it's only uneducated, lazy people that will join the army. So really, when you get to the army, then outside the medical corps and the education corps, you rarely find the Southwesterner. So all the barracks and military cantonments in the Southwest were peopled and officered by Northerners. Before the July event, perhaps there were some Easterners there that were in Abeokuta. Some of them in Ibadan. But when the return march happened, for their own safety, they ran. So the leadership of the army, Nigerian army in the West, were the arms of the Northerners.
Were all the Igbos in Abeokuta, did they run away, or some of them were also massacred?
Absolutely massacred, and the remaining had to run. They didn't run away, they ran in the interest of their life.
Why were they taken unawares? Okay, I keep thinking, they've dubbed the first coup an Igbo coup. And
the first one was never an Igbo coup.
It was not an Igbo coup?
It was a Nigerian coup.
Can you explain?
It's Ademoyega, a Yoruba man, they an Igbo.
The author of this book?
Yes. Very, very intellectual.
It was not an Igbo coup?
It wasn't an Igbo coup. It was a coup of genuine Nigerians who were worried about Nigeria. Yes, they were young, generational. It was the generation that brought them together. It was their willingness to risk their lives, to have a better Nigeria, that brought them together. It wasn't to put an Igbo man or create an Igbo empire. No. Nsegu himself is Midwest Igbo. In normal parlance, he is not an original Igbo. So he wasn't doing all of that.
Ifajuna was Igbo.
Yeah, was Igbo.
Onwatuegu Igbo.
Yes.
Most of the officers were Igbo officers.
What joined them together was intellect, intellectual revolt. Wanted better Nigeria. Most of them were educated. They were university graduates.
Most of the army officers, senior army officers killed were from the north. The premier of the western region was killed. The premier of the northern region was killed. Michael Okpara was not killed.
That was a failure of individual operators.
Tell me more.
In planning the coup, they broke Nigeria into territories, and each person had roles he had to play. Nsegu was in charge of the north. When he moved, he sought even the support of Ojukwu, who never gave him support.
But Ojukwu knew about the coup.
Not before. He was not party to the planning of the coup. From everything I've read, But of course, for you to take over government, don't forget Zegu was just a training officer, and he was using trainees. And Ojukwu was the commander in Kano, so he needed him. He reached out to him and he didn't give him support. So if it was an original Igbo coup, of course, Ojukwu would give him support and he would have taken over, because they have the largest collection of military in the north. But he didn't. In the west, of course, it succeeded because the environment was against Akintola himself. So it was easy. And of course, because he reacted in a different way, he decided to fight. He decided to shoot. No other person did that. It was the only one. And of course,
when you say he decided to shoot, how?
When they captured his deputy. The military boys can be something else. They captured his deputy. So it was the deputy that led them to his house. It was he who spoke to him. He didn't know the military was. There had been a military movement. When he now discovered that Panikade had military boys waiting, he also had prepared for such days, not of military, but of civilian. He thought the operation where people would probably come to his house one day. So he took his submachine gun and opened fire.
You know, mind you, he had been warned of a coup.
Yes, which was why a day before the coup, he flew to the north to discuss it with Sadana. And Sadana said it was impossible.
That it was impossible.
Because he was sure of the Northern Command. And he was sure of the loyalty of Agui Ironsi. And Agui Ironsi had no reason not to be loyal to them. It was not to be the GOC. It was not recommended by the military. The outgoing General Everard or what? Never recommended him.
Did he recommend Babafemi Ogundipe?
He didn't either. I think he recommended Malamari. But Balewa and Sadana opted for Ironsi. They said, let's keep seniority. So why would Ironsi want to fight them? No reason. Absolutely none. So he had no reason to be part of conspiracy.
They didn't see Nzogu coming.
Nobody. And that's what happens to politicians.
But there was movement of troops in Kaduna. It was clear.
It was just for training. And he does that regularly. Even from evidences, those troops didn't know what they were doing until they got to points of action. They thought he would carry them, he would train them, but it was a revolutionary. And they are always in the midst of decadence, some revolutionary. In the midst of darkness, there will be one source of light.
Wasn't he too brutal? Wasn't he too brutal? The way Ahmadu Bello was murdered. Was Nzogu not too brutal?
When you look at it today, you would think so. But at that time, a failure at that point was the end. And you know, he's a military man, a young man, well trained. He went to Sandhurst. Sandhurst was the best training center in the British Commonwealth. He knew that if he failed, he's death. So it's either you die or you kill. And he knew if he was unable to penetrate the Sadana hegemony, that was the end of the coup. And he believed that the feudalism they were talking about, you know, any Marxist, and there are many in the South there, any radical, You criticize the feudalism in the north. And he was seen as the epitome. Was the Sardauna, next in rank to the Sultan. So he wasn't just a premier. He also had religious control. So for him not to pay, you don't operate like how would I call it, a shooter. You do what you call a spray shooting. I must kill this one, because if I don't, that will be the end of the exercise. And he was the leader. So he assigned to himself the most difficult assignment. So if he failed everything,
the guys in the east.
Looking backward now, it will look brutal.
Because he took Ahmadu Bello's wife along.
They took Sode and his wife along too.
The guys in the east did not execute theirs.
Now let us look at the truth of the circumstances. They just had a Commonwealth meeting in Lagos. And all of them have been going away. And most of them were aware there would be a coup, because they had better intelligence through their embassies. But we still had Archbishop Macarius around, who was visiting the East, as at the day of the action. You have to look at the international dimension to it. You attack Okpara with Macarius. So that was a possibility. I'm doing my own analysis now.
Yes.
And in this matter, we have to be objective analysts.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are watching us from, it's another edition of Politics on the Street. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share, comment for more political discourse now. A popular Fulani man has come out to warn President Tinubu and the Nigerian army, telling them not to take on another war to the Igbo land, citing it might destroy Nigeria if they take on another war to the Igbo land. Are you of that popular view?
Yes. It's a very popular view because Fulani man, I think they were the one that fought Nigerian Biafra civil war. They were the foot soldiers under Murtala Mohammed, under Adekunle Scorpion, under Obasanjo, yes, and Muhammad Buhari. Who are those foot soldiers that were mowed down like grasses by Biafran soldiers in the 1960s? They are the Fulani foot soldiers from Chad, from Niger, from Mali, from everywhere in the Sahel countries. They join forces together to make sure that they stop emancipation of Biafra 58, 57, 56 to 54 years ago. That was 1970. They are the Fulani foot soldiers. They know actually what they saw, what happened to them when they were having military onslaught, confrontation with Biafran soldiers. It is a truth, it's a fact. If Tinubu tries take another war to Igbo land, it is going to consume every region in Nigeria. Igbo man is not possible. Igbo man is the most impossible person in Nigeria. The war that has been raging from 1970 till date, till last year, was a war of the mind. It wasn't so pronounced, it wasn't so eminent, it wasn't so that, predominant, that nobody knows that we are fighting Cold War. Biafra, Igbo, and Nigeria, we are fighting Cold War. But if actually it escalates into fully blown war, there will be no more Fulani. I'm telling you, because they are the persons, the tribe of interests in Nigeria. The people that doesn't want Nigeria. The people that don't want Nigeria to exist today, to become a place where anybody could coexist. All our sister tribes, all the ethnic states in Nigeria, as in Wazobia, to come together and be managing our resources carefully that God has given us. The Fulani is the one that always towards this kind of, coexistence, this kind of, harnessing what we have together to come out a nation where peace and justice reign. Fulani stops it. That's why they are the one profiling advice, because Danjuma people are the middle belt people, the Taraba people, they have been actually brought down by the same Fulani oligarchy. Nobody in the Midwest in the middle belt could actually come out and profile this kind of solution from a Fulani man, because they were not the major foot soldiers, people that partook during Nigeria Civil War, but the Fulanis. And I tell you this, if any war goes on again, there won't be Nigeria. The best solution right now, the best is coming together on a round table talk, and let us start either unitary system as it was at least profiled by the then military head of state, General Aguiyi, or we go into regionalism as suggested by Baba Awolowo. Everybody should take care of their region, manage the resources in that region, and bring tithes 10% or 1% or 2% in the centrality. That's the only way that the country will fall ahead.
So, Mazi, do you think that the Fulanis and the Hausa will subscribe? We've seen so many lawmakers champion for this, but they said no. And then why is it that the Igbo man is always the target of the one Nigeria system?
And let me tell you, if the whole people and the whole lawmakers in the upper chamber and the whole lawmakers in the lower chamber are all against Igbo, I tell you that the executive department is the one that is championing this cause.
Really?
Yes, the executive department should come out now and say enough is enough if actually they want Nigeria to be. Okay? Nigerian president is the most powerful president in the world. Any suggestion, any policy, any agenda that comes out from the House of Legislative without the executive department affirming it, endorsing it, approving it, it can work. Okay? Tinubu has what it takes to restructure Nigeria. Tinubu has what it takes to at least falling back to where regionalism, where Baba Awolowo actually excelled in the 60s. Awolowo Akintolas, Osadebes, and so on and so forth. While in the southeastern Nigeria we have M.I. Oras. They were there with Akpabio's. Akpabio's father, the so-called bloated bread, Akpabio's father was among the southeastern central state government in the 60s. When we were practicing regionalism, the southeastern Nigeria were known for manual palm kernel, palm oil, palm produce. Akpabio's father, Patu, Sarawi were them, Adaka Boru, all those ones that went against Biafra during the war, they were all there included. We ran an inclusive government in this eastern states, old eastern states, with Enugu state as the capital. See, let me tell you, they are just playing there in the upper house. You know what? They are playing game. They are all bridge players. Those people are gamblers, gambling with our natural resources, catching out every now and then. 70,000 could not be paid for Nigerian workers, while they are going home with 13 million. After 13 million, what about all those allowances?
You said the money is too small.
The money is too small. The money is too big. Senator Oji is not the only one that said the money is too small, but Jabi Amila said the money is too small. Yes, Abba Kyari said the money is too small. That's why he resigned from active services and degenerate into super cup of a thing, aligning with hot puppy to dupe many American companies. And that was not enough. So he joined drug cartel. What are you saying?
But if the war comes, are the Igbo really prepared for this war?
What are you saying?
Because now, we've had what Amonekwa said, that the Nigerian government cannot with them with a buy of gun anymore. If the eventually war comes, are they prepared?
Okay. Let me ask you: can a one-eye man fight war?
Yes, of course.
One-eye man. Two. Can one-legged man fight war?
No.
Nigeria is a one-legged man. Nigerians' eyes are not complete. Why? You know what? Fulani and the Hausa, that's why I said can one-eyed man fight war. Fulani and the Hausa are not together again. Mid-belt and the Fulani are not together again.
Okay.
What are you saying? One-eyed man can never win this war or even fight a war. One-legged man cannot either. Because Hausa Fulani are not together again. When it was Niger Republic, Hausa Fulani in the north combined together, it is possible. But this time around, there is a saying that things has fallen apart. The Falcon could not hear Falconers anymore. Mere anarchy has lost upon the world. The center could no longer hold in Nigeria. My brother, nobody is fighting war here. We are going to have roundtable talk, each and every region that form this incomplete contraption called Nigeria. Everybody should go their separate ways. A confederacy or confederate system of government set up, or everybody should go. Igbo man is ready to be on his own. Yoruba man has acquired all it takes to be a nation. Hausa man, they have the arable land there to cultivate most of the crops that will give them income, and even the catch crops that the peasant farmers will rely on. So what are you saying? We are matured to disintegrate, because in the upper legislative chambers, it is always an argumentative going on. Every session, preliminary session they have there. You be thief, I know be thief. You be armed robber, I know be armed robber. You steal, I know they steal. You be Igbo man, I know be Igbo man. You be Fulani man, you be Hausa man, you be Yoruba man. Fighting and fighting and fighting every day. After 64 years, let us disembark. We should disintegrate because we are not getting it right. And even we don't have any cause to ask for disintegration because everything is working on well. Today as I'm talking to you, no Nigerian man is smiling, no Nigerian woman is happy. All our youths, they are not. After all, they have been deprived. Most of the what? Social amenities, infrastructural wise. What about skill acquisition institutions? None is working. Nobody is learning any skill. I mean the youths. Nigerian politicians, they are catching out. Transferring much huge fund into ABSA, into Paris Club, into the World Bank, into Swiss Bank, American UAE. See, let me tell you, the country is not working. Let everybody begin to count their teeth.
Let everybody begin to count. Thank you for that wonderful information.